Yo, good evening, USA, International Canada, Long Island, aka Strong Island, plus the five spots of Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, and Queens. This is your man and homie G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator, your host with the most, misunderstood lonely nomad, unstoppable independent podcaster, creator, YouTuber, and Queens, New York native who is also a New York Mets fan from the neck of the woods of Laurelton, Queens, New York. And yes, you're now rocking with me by tuning in, listening, streaming, and watching the 410th episode of the comedy show Off the Meat Rat Chainz New York Avenue podcast, live and direct from StreamYard and the comfort of my room and YouTube. And of course, speaking of StreamYard, if you'd like to get in get in on the action on leveling up, whether you are a live streamer, whether you are a podcaster like myself, or any other thing that you do on YouTube whatsoever. Um, all you gotta do is set up an account. You can use your email address, you can use your podcast email address, and and of course you could pick out which sections you want to do your live streams, whether it's Twitch, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Kick, whether it's YouTube or whatever. All you need to do is go ahead and check out the website www.streamyard.com, so you'll be able to get a $10 discount, right? And speaking of which, I hope y'all had a nice weekend, and I hope y'all are relieved from the heat wave. And I'm actually glad the heat wave is over and stuff. And if you are new to the channel and you missed out on any episodes whatsoever, please feel free to subscribe to the primary YouTube channel page, G Money Stacks 555, for more live video podcast episode live streams. And and of course you can press the notification bells to be notified on when I'll be on the air via live stream, and of course video uploads to the YouTube channel page. And of course, leave a like and a comment along with the topics, and of course, share your thoughts on how you feel about the topics in each episode. And also, I would like to point out I like to point out I like to point out something actually. Um, if if you didn't get a chance to listen to any of the episodes on streaming platforms whatsoever, including Apple Podcasts, make sure you leave a review and 5 stars. That way I'll be able to get the confidence into creating more episodes, more topics whatsoever. It would really mean a lot to me if you had the chance to actually support support me, spread the word to your friends and everybody else. So yeah, so spread the word, leave a 5 star rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. If you are listening from Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other streaming platforms whatsoever, if you can even listen to the podcast episodes while you are in your cars, whether you are on your days off, whether you are on your exercise walks, whatever you're doing, to actually take your mind off of stressful events. This is this is basically this is basically giving you a little bit of relief from the stressful jobs you have, all that other stuff. And I say this all the time: comedy, entertainment, and sports. The one thing that it has in common is the fact that it gives people relief. Of course, gives something to actually laugh and all that good stuff. And speaking of which, let's cut to the chase to a little bit of New York Mass Transit files right here. And if you are new to the channel and you don't know what the New York Mass Transit files entails, this is basically transit news that I cover here. I'm the only podcaster that's actually covering this because no other podcast is actually doing that. So I figured I take the liberty to actually doing that. So, and of course, this is basically an inspiration from an old TV show that I used to watch after study with the best called Transit News Magazine, which used to come on Saturdays at 3:30. So yeah, there you go, right there. All right, let's get to it right here. Okay, okay, we gotta talk about what went down a couple days ago in terms of a bus driver who got sucker punched, which took place in the Bronx actually. Now, this is according to the folks from AMNY, and here's what's happening here. So, police in the Bronx are on the hunt for a brazen brute who allegedly punched an on duty MTA bus driver last week. Um, this is a while back actually. The attack took place aboard a BX31 bus near the intersection of Van Cortlandt Park and East 242nd Street in Woodlawn at around 6:50 p.m. on April 1st. According to law enforcement sources, the violent suspect boarded the bus at a nearby stop, approached the 57-year-old bus driver, and slugged him square in the face with a closed fist. This is crazy, man. This is crazy. I don't understand. I don't understand why people would do something like this. I really don't get it though. Police could not confirm if there had been a verbal dispute first or what else may have led to the assault. After after the attack, the suspect immediately fled the bus on foot to parts unknown before officers from the 47th precinct arrived at the scene. Damn, they better catch that bastard. The hold on. The victim, meanwhile, suffered pain and swelling in his face. EMS brought him to nearby Mount Montefiore Mount Vernon Hospital in stable condition. Police on Monday released a surveillance of the suspect. He is shown on the bus wearing a dark colored coat with a hood and white sneakers. Hmm. So far, no arrests have been made, but the investigation is still ongoing. Anyone with information regarding the assault can call Crime Stoppers at 800-577-TIPS. For Spanish, you can dial 888-57-PISTA. You can also submit tips online at crimestoppers.nypdonline.org or on X, formerly Twitter, at NYPD Tips. All calls and messages are kept confidential. Although MTA officials report that transit crime has dropped around 29% in the first 2 months of 2025 compared to the same period last year. Assaults on bus drivers are not uncommon. In June 2024, a veteran bus driver was slashed in the neck by an angry bus passenger upset over a traffic detour. That same month, a woman threw an object at a bus driver in Harlem while the pair argued over whether the bus was in service. The driver hit his new on the dashboard, which resulted in minor injury but was otherwise in stable condition. I swear, people are stupid. People are so stupid these days, man. People are so fucking stupid. And let's talk about the accessibility to senior citizens and disabled. The city that never sleeps made its streets and sidewalks more accessible for New Yorkers over the past year. According to a city report released on Monday, a progress report on first year of the the NYC Department of Transportation's 5-year accessibility plan. Hang on. Accessibility plan shows that the city's vast networks of streets and sidewalks are not just about getting from point A to point B anymore, but getting there with more ease. From May 2024 to May 2025, the agency made what it calls a dramatic expansion of accessibility upgrades to make traversing the city smoother and safer for people with disabilities and all commuters. A buzzworthy initiative, according to the report, is the installation of accessible pedestrian signals at over 3,400 intersections. These these devices display nonverbal information such as tones, speech messages, and vibration aimed at assisting those who are blind or have low vision safely cross streets. In 2021, the U.S. District Court Southern District of New York mandated the city to install APS at 10,000 intersections by the end of 2031. The DOT said it is aiming for full implementation of the signals at all signalized intersections by the end of 2036. That shit is a long fucking time, though. The report also shows that some bus stops underwent big fixes since last year. Historically, riders have said that many bus stops lack continuous accessible wheelchair lifts or other accessibility needs. Other commuters have complained that hulking steel columns block bus stops access under some elevated train lines. In response to these issues, the agency over the past year constructed bus boarding islands or curve extensions for at least two bus stops, including one at East 228th Street in the Bronx under elevated trains aimed at making boarding easier. Another 45 out of the city's approximately 15,000 bus stops were made more accessible, with DOT nearly doubling its goal of 25 upgrades per year, according to the report. In quote, all New Yorkers and visitors deserve to safely and efficiently navigate our city streets regardless of ability, said DOT Commissioner Edonis Rodriguez. New York City is the national leader in pioneering street safety improvements, and we look forward to continuing our efforts building a more accessible and equitable New York. Safer NYC streets and sidewalks. About 50% of all traffic injuries in the United States and about 25% of traffic fatalities occur in intersections, according to the Federal Highway Administration. In response to the alarming statistic, the progress report shows the DOT installed a total of 105 raised sidewalks across all the boroughs aimed at slowing drivers at intersections and encouraging them to yield for people crossing the street. While sidewalk maintenance is the responsibility of property owners in NYC, DOT said it repaired approximately 500,000 square feet of sidewalks citywide at locations adjacent to 785 properties in total over the course of the progress report. To fix the sidewalks with uneven surfaces, cracks, collapsed concrete, and other hazards, DOT inspects sites that have received complaints and issues violations violations to property owners who ultimately pay for the repairs. Meanwhile, disability advocates in NYC applauded the work that has been done so far in the city. However, they feel more needs to be done. Jean Ryan, president of Disabled in Action, said that she has complained to the city about broken sidewalks and inaccessible bus stops, but is still waiting for improvements specifically on Shore Road in Bay Ridge, which is in Brooklyn. In quote, she stated, I complained about the inaccessibility of bus stops and the condition of the sidewalks on both sides of Shore Road in the neighborhood of Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, from Bay Ridge Avenue to 101st Street, she said. Wheelchair users like me have to go in the street for that 30 block stretch of winding and hilly road next to Shore Road Park because the sidewalks are too bumpy with hexagonal raised pavers, which used to be fashionable. Ryan would like the city to speed up work on these issues, regardless of whether repairs or improvements are court ordered. The pace is not enough, she said. Joe Rappaport, executive director of the Brooklyn Center for Independence of the Disabled, said he appreciates the DOT's efforts, but is skeptical of some of the street improvements made this year. In quote, we're skeptical of some of the improvements, particularly the bus islands, he said. What they end up doing is making it sometimes harder for people with low vision or who have mobility disabilities to get to the bus stop. Everybody who has to get to a bus stop on a bus island has to cross the street. That is typically not the case with bus stops. The DOT's 5-year plan fulfills the requirements of Local Law 12 of 2023, which requires all city agencies to make an accessibility plan. All right, so that's about it for transit news. We got some double whammy individuals who passed away recently, and I'm gonna start off with Ozzy Osbourne, and then Hulk Hogan, in the segment of chatting or the jazz right here. So um, hang on one second as I pull this up. Unfortunately, we got some recent passings that happened recently, and I'm going to start off with Ozzy Osbourne, and this is from People. According according to the article, okay, so Ozzy Osbourne, legendary rock star, Black Sabbath frontman and reality TV personality, has died at age 76. It is with more sadness than mere words can convey that we have to report that our beloved Ozzy Osbourne has passed away this morning. Osbourne's family told People in a statement on Tuesday, July 22nd. With he was with his family and surrounded by love. We ask everyone to respect our family privacy at this time. Um, yeah, yeah, this is tough. That's tough, man. That is so fucking tough, man. You know what I mean? It's tough to lose a loved one, and I can actually relate, but I'm not going to get into all that right there. Um, and Yeah, that part. Weeks before his death, Osbourne performed from a throne at the Black Sabbath farewell concert on July 5th in in Birmingham. In January 2020, Osbourne revealed that he'd been diagnosed in 2003 with Parkinson's disease, a nervous system disorder that affects movement. At the time, he said it's not a death sentence. Yeah, that part might be true, actually, but very unfortunate, actually. Despite numerous health challenges over the years, in February 2025, Osbourne announced a farewell fundraising Black Sabbath concert in his hometown of Birmingham, England, set for July. It would be his final concert and his first in 20 years with the band that made him a star. By that time, the rocker was unable to walk due to Parkinson's. In a February interview per The Sun, His wife Sharon Osbourne said he's very happy to be coming back and very emotional about this. Parkinson's is a progressive disease. It's not something you can stabilize. It affects different parts of the body, and it's affected his legs. Damn. But his voice is as good as it's ever been. Osborne himself elaborated on his condition on his Sirius XM radio show, saying, "I have made it to 2025. I can't walk, but you know what? I was thinking over the holidays. But you know what I was thinking over the holidays? For all my complaining, I'm still alive. I may be moaning that I can't walk, but I look down the road and there's people that didn't do half as much as me and didn't make it. In 2019 rather, Osborne had been diagnosed with pneumonia and suffered a fall in his Los Angeles home that required neck surgery. End quote. It's been terribly challenging for us all, he said of those health setbacks. In June 2022, he underwent a significant surgery, which Sharon said would determine the rest of his life. During an episode of the Talk UK a week prior, he later told The Observer that the operation was to remove two metal plates that had been screwed into his spine in an earlier surgery. He returned to the stage in August 2022 for a performance in front of 30,000 at the 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. The following month, he spoke to people about wanting to continue playing live despite his health issues. Um, Let me see. That's the only thing that reminds me I'm getting older, things going wrong, and not working anymore, Osborne said at the time. But I still feel young at heart. In March 2023, he canceled a string of then upcoming UK and European tour dates, writing on Instagram, in quote, "My singing voice is fine. However, after 3 operations, stem cell treatments, endless physical therapy sessions, and most recently, groundbreaking cybernetics treatment, my body is still physically weak." After expressing that he never would have imagined that my touring days would have ended this way, Osborne clarified his comments in an interview with Billy Morrison on Sirius XM's Ozzy's Boneyard show later that month. And quote, if I can ever get back to where I can tour again, fine, he told the outlet. But right now, if you said to me, in quote, can you go on the road in a month? I couldn't say yes. I mean, if I could tour, I'd tour. But right now, I can't book tours because right now I don't think I can pull them off. And hold on. Hang on a second. That July, Osborne canceled a performance at Power Trip Festival in Indio, California, that was set for October 2023. My original plan was to return to the stage in the summer of 2024, and when the offer to do the show came in, I optimistically moved forward. He wrote on Instagram at the time. Unfortunately, my body is telling me that I'm just not ready yet, and I am much too proud to have the first show that I do in nearly 5 years being half-assed. He continued. Born John Michael Osborne in Birmingham, England on December 3rd, 1948, Osborne rose to fame as the frontman of the heavy metal band Black Sabbath, formed in 1968, along with members Tony Wait, hold on. Tony Iommi, Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, Geezer. Oh shit. Oh man. And Bill Ward. Oh man. Some of the group's songs including Paranoid, Iron Man, and War Pigs became staples in the genre they helped define. In 1978, Osbourne launched a solo career that paved equally successful thanks to his unique vocals, singular aesthetic, and antics, like the infamous onstage moment in 1982 when he bit the lead off when he bit the head off a bat. The singer continued to deliver hits including Crazy Train, No More Tears, and If I Close My Eyes Forever, a 1988 duet with Lita Ford that became his only top 10 hit on Billboard's Hot 100. He was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Grammys in 2019, and he holds a total of 5 wins and 12 nominations, reflecting on his storied career. The eccentric musician told The Guardian in 2007 that his life had been an incredible adventure. This has all been such an amazing journey for me. He said at the time, I can vividly remember sitting on the steps of my house in Aston, just tripping about what it would be like to be a Beatle. It's like I've been in the music industry for 30 to 40 years, and it's just been incredible, really. Osborne's star power extended beyond the radio and concert stage, as fans found out in 2002 when the Osbournes premiered on MTV. On the reality show, cameras followed the rocker, his wife, and two of their kids, Kelly and Jack, for what proved to be a hilarious and emotional entertainment to viewers who still express interest in a reboot nearly 2 decades later. Um, yeah, their eldest daughter Amy did not appear on the show. Osborne had 3 other children from the first of his 3 marriages. The first season was such a magical time in my family's life because we had no idea what we were doing. We had no idea that the show would be so successful, Kelly told People TV's reality check in 2019. We didn't know how people would perceive us or anything. Added Kelly of the city, excuse me, Added Kelly of the series, which ran 4 seasons, ending in 2005. I think that is the most raw and vulnerable you will see any family on TV. And then it all kind of was like an explosion of too much reality for us. Osborne and Sharon, who worked as his manager when he went solo, tied the knot in 1982, renewing their vows in 2017 after mending their relationship following a brief split. In quote, it's a journey, really, a marriage. You go up, you go down, you make mistakes, he said on a 2017 episode of The Talk, which Sharon co hosted at the time, adding, I've learned a lot this year. Added Sharon at the time, 35 years with someone is a hell of a long time. And I think I fell out of love with my husband and then fell back again. I just had a newfound love and I respected him because he's seriously trying to be a better person. Osborne is survived by his wife and children. So SIP to Ozzy Osbourne. And up next is Hulk Hogan, who recently passed away, according to TMZ. Um, Wrestling legend Hulk Hogan has died at 71 years old. TMZ Sports has learned. Medics were dispatched to the WWE Icon's Clearwater, Florida home early Thursday morning, with operators stating it was regarding a cardiac arrest. A video of the scene outside Hogan's residence shows responders desperately trying to save his life as he was transported to an ambulance. In the clip, several paramedics appear to be conducting, hang on a second, conducting chest compressions as Hogan is wheeled to the emergency vehicle. Cops tells us officials responded to the call at 9:51 a.m. and Hogan was treated by Clearwater Fire and Rescue personnel before being taken to a nearby hospital. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. During a news conference Thursday afternoon, Clearwater Police Major Nate Burnside said Hope died at 11:17 a.m. before adding there are no signs of foul play or suspicious activity. Just a few weeks ago, Hogan's wife, Sky, whom he married in September 2023, denied rumors he was in a coma, stating his heart was strong as he recovered from surgeries. We broke the story last month. There were rumblings Hogan was on his deathbed, but we were told at the time he was just dealing with the symptoms of a neck procedure he underwent in May. Hulk born Terry Jean Bollea transformed professional wrestling into a family entertainment sport. Hold on. yeah, Hulk born Terry Jean Bollea transformed professional wrestling into a family entertainment sport. Before Hulk wrestling catered to a fairly narrow audience. Um, Hulk's theatrics in the ring were magnetic for children and their parents, and it supercharged the sport. Hogan kickstarted a pop culture phenomenon with Hulkmania after defeating the Iron Sheik for the World Heavyweight Championship in 1984. A craze that never went away, and his signature bandana and handlebar mustache were often copied by fans in the crowds for decades. In 1996, Hulk transformed himself from hero to villain. He created the NWO New World Order and became Hollywood Hulk Hogan. It propelled him in professional wrestling to even more fame. Hogan had countless iconic performances, including a matchup against Dwayne The Rock Johnson at WrestleMania X8 in 2002, and a face-off with Andre the Giant at um, WM3, which is WrestleMania, and had memorable feuds with Ultimate Warrior and the late great Randy Savage. Hold on. All right, so Hulk was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2005. He was removed in 2015 after a scandal erupted over racist comments while he was being secretly recorded during a sexual encounter. Gawker posted the clip, and Hulk subsequently sued, winning the lawsuit. Hulk was inducted a second time in the WWE Hall of Fame in 2020. This time as a member of NWO. WWE released a statement on Hogan's death saying, one of pop culture's most recognizable figures, Hogan helped WWE achieve global recognition in the 1980s. WWE extends its condolences to Hogan's family, friends, and fans. Hulk was the star of the 2024 Republican National Convention when he set the room ablaze with theatrics. Hulk had an amazingly successful movie career beginning in 1982 with Rocky 3 playing the iconic character Thunder Lips. He also starred in No Holds Barred, and of course Sub Suburban Commando. And many of you may not remember he was also in the movie Mr. Nanny. And I actually remember that movie bus ad years ago on one of the at the time it was called New York City Transit. This was way before it changed to MTA New York City Bus. So yeah, there you go. And there's more. Hogan starred in the hit VH1 reality show Hogan Knows Best with his family Linda, Nick, and Brooke. What's amazing about Hulk, he had scores of surgeries as a result of wrestling injuries. He told Harvey during a taping of Objectified he had no original body parts left. The last time we spoke with Hope was back in May as he was launching Real American Freestyle, an amateur wrestling league. Um, the first event is August 30th on Fox Nation. SIP to Hulk Hogan. All right. All right. Let's switch gears into something more more calming and stuff, you know? Actually, better yet, actually better yet, we need to talk about some other serious stuff that's been happening. We got to talk about the rent increase. We got to talk about the rent increase, man. Unfortunately, it's happened again. Unfortunately, it's happened again. Asking rents, according to Nerd Wallet, asking rents were up 2.9% in June compared to the same time last year, according to Zillow's latest rental report. As of June, prices rent prices are growing more slowly than a year ago, according to the latest report from Zillow, which tracks rental market trends. Forecast shows growth is expected to continue decelerating throughout the rest of the year. Single family rent growth is expected to slow to 2.7% in 2025 compared to 4.5% in 2024. Multifamily rent growth is forecast to slow to 1.3% in 2025 compared to 2.4% this year. What happened with rent prices in June, you ask? In May, the typical asking rent was $2,049 in May. According to the most recent rental market report from Zillow, a real estate website, at a national level, rents were 3.2% higher compared to the same time last year. $2,049. Yeah, price growth is weaker largely due to a combination of more homes for rent and a cooling housing market. Those conditions put renters to be in a favorable position. The pace was slowed from the major spikes of 2022, and Zillow data shows rental price growth is slightly below pre-slamdemic averages. Still, rent prices are 35.8% higher than they were before the slamdemic. But whether rent is rising for you and by how much depends on where you live and the type of housing you live in, according to Zillow. Here are some other key takeaways from the report. Rental affordability remains tight. The typical household spends 30.1% of its income on rent. To afford a typical rental, household income must be 82,743 annually. Rent prices are down on a monthly basis in six metros. Houston, you got Houston negative 0.4%. Tampa Tampa Bay, Florida, negative 0.4. New Orleans, negative 0.2%. Phoenix, Arizona, negative 0.2%. And San Antonio, negative 0.1%. Rent prices are up in 46 of the 50 largest metro areas in the country, rising the most with an annual increase of 6.2% is Providence, 6.2%, followed by Chicago, 6%, Indianapolis, 5.4%, Cleveland, 5.1%, and Birmingham, 4.9%. Rental concessions hit a record high. About 35.2% of rental listings on Zillow offered concessions or discounts for renters in June. They appeared more frequently than they did a year ago in 38 of the 50 largest metro areas. Shit. The increase is highest in Denver, Colorado. Colorado? Wait, Denver? Yeah, Denver. Yeah, Denver, Austin, Houston, Orlando, and Memphis. This is crazy, man. All right. So where is rent most affordable and unaffordable? For June, the Zillow report finds that the most affordable metro areas include Austin, Minneapolis, Raleigh, North Carolina, Salt Lake City, St. Louis, Missouri. The the least affordable markets include New York, Miami, Los Angeles, San Diego, and Tampa Bay, Florida. Tracking rent prices against inflation, the latest hold on, CPI report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics released on July 15th tells a similar story. In June, the shelter index, which includes rent, continued to outpace annual inflation, but housing price growth is slowing down. Over the 12-month period ending in June, rent alone was up 3.8%. According to the BLS, yeah, the BLS, that mirrors the overall 12-month increase for shelter. It's worth noting that rent increases in the CPI look different from data reported by rental websites like Zillow because there's a lag in how rent data is reflected in the CPI. That means it takes longer for rental shifts in the market to show up in the report. Zillow calculates changes in asking rents using its Zillow Observed rent Index, which is based on its rental database. Properties are weighted so that the index reflects the rental market as a whole. The lag is primarily due to the cycle of renewals for leases. Since most leases last around a year, a renter's cost will stay the same all year long. It's only when the lease ends that a better understanding of the rental market emerges. Rent inflation change over 12 months. Okay, so here's how the Consumer Price Index or CPI differs from the CPI for rent over time. Let's see. So I'm not going to go over the chart, but y'all can look at the chart for yourselves at www.nerdwallet.com/article/finance/rental market trends. Rents are more unaffordable than ever. Here's why. Why are the rents too damn high, you ask? Over the past few years, it's become more expensive than ever to rent, especially since the beginning of the slamdemic. In fact, rents were unaffordable in 2023 for 22.6 million households that paid rent, an all time high, according to a report on America's rental housing by the Joint Center for Housing Studies of Harvard University, released in December. Spending 30% of your income on rent means a household is moderately rent burdened. Yikes. But spending 50% or more means a household is severely rent burdened by federal standards. The Harvard study found that in 2023, half of all renters spent 30% or more of their income on rent and utilities, while more than a quarter of all renters spent 50% or more of their income on housing costs. Why is rent so fucking damn high, you ask? Rent prices have spiked since 2020 because of a combination of factors, including inflation, low inventory, barriers to home ownership, and shifts in tenant demand. Here's here's how those factors have played out. Inflation includes the higher costs across the board mean landlords pass on higher costs such as rising wages for maintenance workers or repair costs to renters. Higher rent costs contributes to inflation and the cycle repeats. Lack of inventory. There is a shortage of vacant rental properties in general and of affordable ones in particular. Barriers to home ownership. Prospective homeowners remain renters for longer as they face high demand and low inventory of existing homes. Rising mortgage interest rates, as well as supply chain disruptions that have made it more expensive and difficult to construct new homes. Expired rent freezes and discounts. Landlords made up for slandemic era rent freezes and steep discounts in urban areas by hiking prices on new units and lease renewals. A shifting workforce. As the slamdemic increased the popularity of remote work, deep pocketed renters sought larger homes in areas that had been previously relatively low cost. This migration increased rents in suburban areas more than it lowered them in urban ones, yielding a net increase in rent. More demand to live alone. Perspective. Renters are increasingly looking for studio and one bedroom apartments, driving up demand for available housing. Another thing to consider is that wages are rising slower than rents, which can make rent feel even more expensive. Since 2019, rent prices have risen at a rate 1.5 times that of wages, according to a May 7th analysis by Zillow. When will prices go down, you ask? Prices have come down in some major U.S. cities, and that trend could become more widespread as apartment projects started in recent years become available to rent. In 2024, developers completed construction on more than half a million new apartments nationwide, according to research firm Yardi Matrix. Oh man. Um oh man, that shit is funny. Um the second year in a row that the number of completed apartments hit a new record, according to an August 2024 report by the rental listing service Rent Cafe. The report also projected that developers would finish another 2 million units by 2028. That's like 3 years. That's like 2 to 3 years from now. Um, that's crazy, man. A new supply of housing is likely to slow overall rent growth or even reverse it. That's been the story in cities like Austin, where a significant chunk of apartments finished in 2024 are located. And since many cities require inclusionary housing, meaning a portion of new housing must be affordable. New construction also means new affordable housing. A rise in rent concessions, which could include short term discounts like weeks or months of free rent or waived fees, is another indication that rent could be ready to come down. It means property owners may be feeling more negative about their ability to find renters. All right, yo, before I go on to the next topic, um, folks, you at home, tell me how you feel about this topic right here and the other previous topics right here in the comments below on the YouTube channel page. And and I know sometimes it's a little stressful to actually find an affordable place in New York to rent, but New York is not the only place that's expensive. Um, California, along with probably New Jersey and other states, are pretty expensive too, man. To be honest with you, that's crazy, man. Yeah, let me know how you feel about this. All right, so um, hold on. Yeah, yeah, we need to. Yeah, hold on 1 second. Let me make sure I got everything that I need to talk about here. Yes, before I go on to 13 best hip hop songs from Double XL and National Wine Day and the Clipse fourth album. The difference between EPs and LPs, and then a little tech news. I want to actually get into. There was a recent story that I actually saw actually involving people who actually fainted during the extreme heat. This is crazy. This is crazy right there, man. So So what happened recently during the heat wave, according to ABC News, As extreme heat is forecast across much of the U.S. this week, um, this was recently. Health departments across the country are warning people to take steps to survive the potentially deadly weather. Extreme heat is the deadliest weather-related hazard in the U.S., claiming roughly 2,000 people annually, according to data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. But experts note the official heat-related death toll may be undercounted due to heat sometimes not being considered as a factor in someone's death. The latest CDC statistics show that 150 heat related deaths have already occurred in the United States in 2025, but the data is only partially tabulated due to delays in reporting. During the previous 2 years, more than 4,800 heat related U.S. deaths were recorded, according to the CDC. Since 2020, there have been at least 9,436 heat related deaths across the nation, the CDC noted. The, CD, the CDC statistics show that the number of heat related deaths increased from 1,156 in 2020 to 2,415 in 2023 before slightly declining to 2,394 last year. Meanwhile, the average number of heat waves that major US cities experience each year has doubled since the 1980s, according to the federal government's fifth national climate assessment. An analysis by Climate Central, an independent group of scientists and communicators that research climate change, found that between June and August 2024, the average person experienced an additional 17 days of risky heat because of human amplified climate change, and that over the summer months, 1 in 4 people on the planet had no respite from the heat. The organization defined risky heat as days with temperatures hotter than 90% of the temperatures recorded in a local area from 1991 to 2020. Heat waves are becoming even more dangerous as overnight temperatures are too high to relieve people from the heat, prolonging heat stress and the associated heat risk. Extreme levels of heat stress have more than doubled over the past 40 years, a trend that is expected to continue, according to NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Southern California. Heat related illnesses like heat exhaustion or heat stroke, very common, by the way, happen when the body cannot properly cool itself. Um, while the body normally cools itself by sweating during extreme heat, this might not be enough. In these cases, a person's body temperature rises faster than it can cool itself down and can cause damage to the brain and other vital organs. Hot days can affect anyone, those who are pregnant with a heat condition or other chronic condition, as well as children with asthma, can be especially affected. An estimated 70,000 people visit emergency rooms, and an average of 10,000 are hospitalized annually due to heat. Between January 1st, 2023 and December 31st, 2023, there were a total of 119,605 emergency room visits across the country for heat related illnesses, with 92% of visits occurring between May and September, according to a report published in April 2024 by the CDC. July and August had higher than average ER visits due to heat than other warm seasons months, including May, June, and September, according to the report, which looked at data of ER visits caused by heat in 2023 and compared it to visits between 2018 and 2022. These findings are consistent with record breaking temperatures observed in 2023, the CDC said. More than 200 million people across the country, from South Dakota to Florida and up the East Coast to Boston, are on alert for widespread dangerous heat on Monday and into the New York week, and parts of the Southeast could experience the brunt of the sweltering conditions. The highest temperatures on Monday will be forecast in the Southeast from the Carolinas to Florida, where extreme heat indices that is what the temperatures feel like when humidity is factored in, are forecast to be between 105 and 115 degrees. From parts of Mississippi and Louisiana are on alert for heat indices up to 120 degrees. Shit, damn. Extreme heat is also expected to continue on Monday and Tuesday in the Midwest, where over the weekend temperatures felt between 97 to 111 degrees from Lincoln, Nebraska, up up into Minneapolis. The Northeast is in store for multiple days of heat. Heat indices in the Northeast are forecast to make it feel like the mid 90s to 104 on Monday. Officials in Boston, Philadelphia, New York City, and Washington, D.C. have all declared a heat emergency for this week, which includes opening cooling centers and working with utility providers to encourage energy conservation and maintain electrical grid reliability. The New York City Emergency Management and the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene are urging New Yorkers to take precautions to protect themselves from hot and humid weather that is expected to extend into Wednesday. NYCEM Commissioner Zach Iscol, Iscol said this will be the fifth heat emergency for New York City this season. Prolonged heat like this is dangerous, especially for older adults, people with health conditions, and those without air conditioning. Um, Isco said in a statement, "Stay hydrated, limit outdoor activity, and find a cool option, whether it's a city cooling center like a library or a private space such as a friend's or relatives' homes." Let's see. Also in heat wave. Hang on a second here. Hang on one second here. Let's see. Hold on a second. Okay, students. Yeah. Let's, so this was a while back actually. So I went through a little recap actually. So damn, son. More than 150 people fell ill in the stifling heat at a high school graduation ceremony in Paterson, New Jersey, where the city's mayor declared a state of emergency Tuesday after the mass um, casualty event. Dozens of graduation attendees had to be treated at the event, officials said. At least 5 people were hospitalized for dehydration as students, family, and friends lined up outside Hinch Life Stadium on Monday morning. Patterson Public Safety Director Jerry um, Spezio told CBS New York. Sheesh. That's scary, man. That's the scariest shit that I ever heard, man. That's the scariest shit that I ever heard. Um, damn. That's the scariest. That's very scary, to be honest. Um, yeah, that's scary, man. Okay. All right, we're gonna keep going here. While students and guests were left sitting in the sweltering sun, school officials, including Board of Education members, were seated under tents, according to NorthJersey.com. The Patterson School District did not respond immediately to a post request for comment. But the district insisted to the Jersey outlet that measures to keep parents, students, students and staff safe were in place at the time. In anticipation of high temperatures, the district implemented numerous precautionary measures to help keep everyone safe. Patterson School District Superintendent Lori Noel told NorthNewJersey.com in a statement. These included on site EMTs, multiple cooling stations, cold bottled water, shaded areas, wet paper towels, ice, and large industrial fans to provide art flow. Excuse me, airflow. One graduation parent had to be treated in an ambulance after suffering an asthma attack as temperatures soared into the high 90s. They gave me the breathing machine, said the woman, who didn't give her name. They wanted to take me to the hospital, but I didn't want to go because I didn't want to miss my son's graduation. As a result of the mass casualty event, proactive measures have been taken into the city until the heat wave ends, hopefully by Wednesday night, Patterson officials said. Due to the extreme heat, I declared a state of emergency yesterday in our city. All recreational activities are canceled until further notice. Patterson Mayor Andre Saye said in a social media post Tuesday. Temporary cooling stations also have been set up in Patterson libraries between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., offering air conditioned relief and water, according to the Patterson Police Department. Much of New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut were also under excessive heat warnings Tuesday as temperatures in Manhattan topped 100 degrees. An air quality alert was issued across much of the area due to ground level ozone. Now let's get to National Wine Day, which is very interesting. I didn't even think this was going to happen, but I didn't think that was going to happen though, man. Like my gosh. Okay. All right, National Wine Day. Okay, so we don't typically need an official reason to celebrate over a bottle of wine, but today we have one. It's National Wine Day, celebrated annually on May 25th. The growing number of wineries across the U.S., coupled with the proliferation of social media options, um, has prompted more creative ways to celebrate with wine for people of all legal drinking ages and beverages preferences. Whether you host a wine tasting at your place to try the latest roses or meet friends for an evening of professionally paired food and wine, the celebration begins as soon as the cork is popped. Cheers. Yeah. Um, let's see. When is National Wine Day 2026? Um, Wine lovers celebrate the fermented drinks many types on National Wine Day on May 25th. So that's pretty much what that. So let's go to the history of National Wine Day. Wine has been enjoyed by humans for thousands of years. The natural likeness for this drink is not only because it tastes wonderful, but also because of its nutritional value of psych- psychotropic, psychotropic effects. Wine has also had a significant impact on the economy and the shaping of societies. Out of all the alcoholic beverages, it it is the trade of wine that allowed exploration of different cultures and paved the way for philosophical and religious ideas to spread. Wine is cited frequently in the Bible from the time of Noah to Jesus, indicating its integral role. Winemaking was also seen as a sign of a provident economy, as only provident societies could accommodate a well established wine industry. In fact, it is often debated that the foundations of Western society were built on wine. The wine enjoyed in the olden days is a distant relative to the wine enjoyed today. Red, pink, green, white, and blue grapes were used by the Egyptians to prepare the drink. Palm dates, figs, and pomegranate, pomegranates were often added to the mix too. So the taste was completely different from what we know. Using different fruit to make wine is similar to how it is prepared using grapes, except that sugar is also added to aid the fermentation process. The exact origin of National Wine Day is unknown, but the earliest references date back to 2009. It is a day for wine enthusiasts to unite and celebrate our favorite fermented fruit juice. Since its establishment in 1812 by Spanish missionaries, California's wine country in the Northern Bay Area of Northern California has dominated American wine production and our personal vision of the elegant American vineyard, vineyard, excuse me. There were a mere 25 wineries in this area of California in 1974. There, um, there are over 100. That's a lot. That's a lot of wineries, man. Shit. That's really fucking amazing. Anyway, while California still leads U.S. wine production and is now home to over 4,000 wineries statewide, wineries exist across the U.S. with at least three in every state. In fact, the most frequently visited winery today is the Baltimore Estate in Asheville, North Carolina, with over 1 million people annually. This availability of wineries enables us to visit the rolling hills of a beautiful vineyard closer to home. Yes, it is very likely one is near you, within range for a fun day trip or weekend getaway. So pack your bags and set your GPS to the winery closest to you. Um, um, four 4100 BC, sophisticated wine production in Armenia. Archaeologists discovered evidence of winemaking in an Armenian cave, including cups and jars for holding wine, wine presses, and vats for fermentation, and even grape seeds and vines. 6000 BC, signs of early winemaking found in Eurasia, although it had been believed that the earliest wines were made around the 4th century BC. Much older wine has been found in what is now the country of Georgia. 1628, wine production begins in America. New Mexico becomes the first region in America to begin producing wine. 1964, sangria grows in U.S. popularity, although sangria was introduced to the U.S. in the 1940s. Its popularity spikes after the 1964 World's Fair in New York. I actually had sangria before. It's pretty fruity good, actually. The the one that I like is the drink in red. That's what I like the most, actually. Oh my gosh! Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a second. National Wine Day around the world. Okay, so the country, India, holiday, National Milk Day. Oh gosh. Occasion as an agricultural country, India celebrates the many wonderful joys of milk, which is on November 26th. Country, Italy, holiday, Espresso Italiano Day. Occasion, a day dedicated to celebrating coffee. Date, third Friday in April. Country, Ireland, holiday, St. Patty's Day. Occasion, the luck of the Irish, and of course, Irish whiskey is celebrated March 17th. This is crazy. Traditions for National Wine Day all revolve around indulging in and celebrating with wine. Friends and family get together and uncork their favorite bottles of wine. Splurging on expensive wine is also the norm today. So treat yourself to that fancy vinyl you've always wanted to buy. Wine tasting events are hosted where wine lovers and connoisseurs enjoy different flavors and varieties of wine. Wine bottles are aesthetically pleasing, so reusing them for a DIY project or making a rack from scratch to display them are also go to celebratory traditions for National Wine Day. Um, damn. So by numbers, are you serious? By numbers? All right, by the numbers, 55 degrees, the optimum temperature for storing wine. 60 gallons, the amount of wine in a single barrel. 4 to 10, the number of clusters of grapes in a single bottle of wine. 10, the number of bottles of wine that a single is vineyard, however you pronounce this, is able to produce. 100 to 150, the number of calories in a single serving of wine. 2 grams, the number of carbohydrates in a single glass of wine. 10,000, the number of different varieties of grapes worldwide. 700 million, the number of gallons of wine produced in the US in 2020. $88 billion, the estimated value of the U.S. wine market in 2020. Damn, $88 billion. Wow. No wonder that shit is so fucking pricey. Um 7.3 million, the the heck hold on, hectares the hectares of land that vineyards or vineyards, however you pronounce it, occupied worldwide in 2020. Oh shit. Oh man. Wait, how many national wine days are there? Are you serious? There are 17 national wine days throughout the year. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh shit. Wait. So National Red Wine Day is August 28th. Um what day is National White Wine Day? Oh wow. August 3rd. That passed already. All right, National Wine Day activities. Cool down with a sangria bar. What better way to celebrate the beginning of summer than with friends over a sangria bar? Sangria is an easy make ahead beverage with wine as its base. Red, white, and rosé recipes abound, but don't limit yourself to the obvious. Peach and blueberry lemonade sangria stand out at any party. Oh shit. Buy a new gadget. Chances are, if you are making plans for National Wine Day, you don't consider yourself an amateur. Aficionados need gadgets. Enhance the holiday with an electric wine bottle opener or wine um, aerator. Know your glasses. The extensive variety of stemware can be confusing. Why so many choices? The shape of the bowl controls the amount of air reaching the wine surface, which impacts the taste and aroma. Celebrate National Wine Day by researching the recommended glass to use based on wine type and impress your friends with your newfound knowledge. Five fascinating, interesting facts about wine bottles. Number one, size matters. There are over a dozen different sizes of wine bottles, many named after biblical kings or other historical figures. Who's the king? At 30 liters, the largest wine bottle size is named Melchi Melchizedek or Midas, holding 200 glasses of wine. Oh, wow. Number three, sealed with a cork. Almost 70% of wine bottles are sealed with national cork. The majority of this cork comes from Portugal. Number four, judging a bottle by its cover. There are over 60,000 wine labels in the market today. And number five, it takes a lot of grapes. One bottle of wine holds an average of 600 grapes. Why we love National Wine Day, you ask? We love varietos. While there are five basic types of wine: red, white, rosé, sparkling, and dessert, there are thousands of varietals of wine grapes. The options you have for trying a new wine are practically endless. You'll never get bored in your pursuit for trying something new in the wine world. Um, we savor life with wine. Wine is not the type of beverage you drink quickly. You sip it, savor it, linger with it. Yeah, which means you are likely lingering with whomever you are sharing the wine. Taking your time to enjoy a glass of wine allows you to enjoy other things with it: people, scenery, and food. Wine allows you to travel the world in a bottle. Each bottle of wine tells a unique story. If you close your eyes, wine's aromas and flavors can transport you to far away lands, giving you hints about the soil and whether the grapes grew in, the landscape of the country the wine originated in, and what was happening in the world at the time the wine was bottled. The best part, you ask? You don't even have to get on a plane to travel the world. That's true. And all right, so National Wine Day dates includes next year, Monday, May 25th, 2027, Tuesday, May 25th, 2020, excuse me, 2028, Thursday, May 25th, 2029, Friday, May 25th, and 2030, Saturday, May 25th. All right. All right. Let's see. Let's see what else. What else I got to talk about here? What else I want to talk about here? Yes, I want to talk about let me see. Hang on one second here. Hold on one second. Um yeah, I want to actually let me just get a look at this. Okay, difference between an EP and LP in music. So let's see. What is the difference? Okay, I want to actually talk about this actually. For you, for those of you at home who may not know the difference between an EP and an LP. So let's see. Let's see. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so I want to actually find out the difference. Let's see. So yeah, I want to actually get into this. This I'm actually so this is from exposuremusic.com. All right, so the difference between an L the difference between an EP and an LP. So let's break this down like a Pythagorean theorem. What is an EP, you ask? EP stands for extended play, and while it sounds like it would be longer than an LP, it's actually shorter. The EP is basically a mini album or a half length album. It's called extended because it's longer than a single release. The first EPs were developed by RCA Victor in 1952 to compete with Columbia's super popular LP format. The company created a similar 7-inch record that is played at 45 RPM and features just 7.5 minutes of audio per side. This shorter length and smaller frame allowed artists to release singles, B tracks, rarities, or covers between LP launches to keep their fan base engaged and anticipating Um, new releases. There's no definitive standard length for an EP. It's longer than a single and shorter than a full length album. But other than that, it can vary in length. However, most EPs feature around 3 to 6 tracks and have a total playtime of 15 to 30 minutes long. Of course, this varies depending on genre or the artist's preferences, but anything longer than 30 minutes would be considered an LP, and anything shorter than 15 minutes would be a single. And let me see. Let me see. All right. So an LP, like we've mentioned, LP stands for long play or long playing, and it's synonymous with a full length album. The first LPs were created in 1948 by Columbia Records, and they completely revolutionized the music industry. Hold on one second. Hold on 1 second. All right. Where was it? Where was I? Where was I? Yes. At the time, the industry standard was a 12-inch vinyl that could be played at 78 RPM, which translates to just 5 minutes of play time per side. So 10 minutes in total. Columbia's LPs could be played at a reduced speed of 33.3 RPM, increasing the audio capacity of the 12-inch record, which means more songs could fit on each side of the vinyl. Back in the 1950s, a 12-inch LP could play roughly 23 minutes of music on each side, amounting to a total of 46 minutes. That's why most albums released during that time fit into this time frame, and why this was the industry standard for close to 50 years. However, LPs can have a shorter playtime. Some albums feature um, only 30 minutes of playtime, but are still considered long playing records. Michael Jackson's Thriller, for example, the best selling album of all time, features 42 minutes of music, but is still considered an LP. Hmm, that's interesting. This is interesting. The hell, a double LP. I'm pretty sure y'all know what a mixtape is and a single is, and I'm pretty sure y'all probably know what the double LP is and the extended play versus an album. I'm not gonna go into that right now, but I will actually say you know what? I'm gonna save those for another time actually. So I'll probably get back to it though. I will gladly get back to it though. Um, let's see. Let me see. Yes, I want to talk about the Clipse album. As a matter of fact, before I forget, I want to talk about the Clipse album. Yeah, they have a yeah, they have a scored. All right. Okay, so let's see. Um Hip Hop Wired, um the Clipse album. Okay. All right. Okay, let me see. So this is crazy though. Hang on a second here. I I know I know I saw a story in regards to that actually. I know I saw a story in regards to that. So I think I'm gonna go into let's go into some music news. Let's go into some music news and stuff, man. While I'm at it. Since I'm already here. So damn. Let me see. Where is where is the Clipse? Cause I remember oh shit. Speaking of the Clipse, um, they did perform at the Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. So let's talk about that. Very interesting, actually. So let's get into it. And this is from Hip Hop Wired. Since the release of their latest album, Let God Sort Them Out, Clipse has become the darlings, the darlings of the hip hop game, as the two rap OGs have seemingly breathed new life into a genre that's lost its appreciation for lyricism and content in favor of simplicity and gimmicky rap. Having been making the media rounds for the last few weeks, Pusha T and his brother Malice took their talents to the Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon and performed arguably their most heartfelt and tear-jerking song, The Birds Don't Sing, to show the crowd that while they are notorious for their drug-dealing metaphors and similes, Clipse also knows how to move a soul or two. That the way you missed Mama, I guess I should have known chivalry ain't dead. You ain't let her go. You ain't let her go alone. Lion gets us every time. Damn it, Malice. Oh man. Rapping about the tragic passing of their parents, Clipse walked around the stage to spit their bars as the backdrop displayed old school pictures of their parents, Mildred Thornton and Jean Elliott Thornton. It was quite the moving experience, if you ask us. Of course, of course, um, you could check out their performance on the Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon their on his YouTube channel page. All right. So let me see if there's anything else. If there's anything else, let me see. Yes, 13 best hip hop songs. Let's talk about that too, since we're in this. 13. Hang on a minute. Yes, 13. 13. 13 13 best hip hop songs this week. Let's get into it right here. Let me see. I want to make sure that I actually get this squeezed in actually. So, um 13 best hip hop songs um this week according to the folks from Double XL Mag. All right, so you got Hit Boys. Hold on a second. Hold on a second here. So So you have Hit Boys, What's the Deal? BS One Thing, Sauce Walker's No Pressure, Drake's Which One featuring Central C, Offset's Professional, Don Tolliver and Lit's Lithe apostrophe S, Cannonball, Four Brats's um WYA featuring Sexy Red, Wale's Damage Damage Control featuring Pusha T of the Clipse, Young Boy Never Broke Again's Fire Your Manager featuring Playboy Cardi, Nappy Roots Better Off, Corrupt Special, Lecrae's Bless You featuring Tori Deshawn, and Chow Lee's Hold It Down for Me. So there you go, right there. Let's see. Let me see. If there any tech news, yeah, let me. I'm gonna cover a little bit of tech news for a bit though. Let's get into. Hold on a second here. Let me see. I'm gonna cover a little bit of tech news real quick, and then I'm gonna be wrapping up this show right here. So, um, all right. As I'm looking for this, man, let me just take a look here and see. Let me see who just said something in the comments. Let's take a look. Let me see. And this is from, let me see, this is from Eric. Shout out to Eric Buckner from the Nighthawk Network, Detroit. He says, "What's good, my guy? Unk Nighthawk checking in. Yeah, what's good with you? I hope you held I hope you held up okay during the heat wave. It was very, very brutal, actually. You know what I mean? And so yeah. So shouts to Eric Bruckner, and if you can make sure you subscribe to his YouTube channel. He has like one or two shows on there. So make sure you check it out. Um, I haven't had a chance to check it out, so I'll actually do my best. I've been so busy trying to I've been so busy trying to push to push three of my podcasts and stuff. So that's why I haven't really had a chance to actually interact with the guy. So shouts to the homie right there, Eric Buckner. All right. So all right, let's get into some tech news, man, that we got to talk about. Let's get into some tech. Let's get into some tech news right here. All right. Let me see. Let me see. Let's get into the technology world here. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. All right. So the latest in tech news right here, according to Hip Hop Wired, goes something like this. Samsung has been at the forefront of the foldable smartphone market, but that lead has slipped somewhat with the arrival of viable alternatives. But with the Galaxy Z Fold 7, Samsung has addressed some of the glaring issues with the previous models, delivering a solid foldable smartphone experience. Can you believe we are 7 iterations in with the Galaxy Z Fold? Samsung is continuing its mission to make foldable smartphones just as much the norm as your standard smartphone model. Wow. So there you go, right there. Let me see. That continues to be a hard sell due to these devices, hefty price tags, putting them in the niche smartphone market. But with the Galaxy Z Fold 7, Samsung could finally change that notion. The Galaxy Z Fold 7 slims down. Okay, okay, okay. With the Galaxy Z Fold 7, Samsung made a concerted effort to make sure this device wasn't just a rehash of the previous model by addressing the biggest complaints regarding its premium flagship foldable smartphone. One improvement you will immediately notice is the size of um, the fa- the phablet. Before the Galaxy Z Fold 7's arrival, the previous models were huge and took up plenty of space in your pockets, making them comfortable to walk around with. With the Fold 7, that is no longer an issue thanks to Samsung finally slimming the device down, making it one of the thinnest foldable smartphones on the market, measuring at 8.9 millimeters, which is 0.35 inches when closed, and 4.2 millimeters when open. Also, the thinner size didn't result in sacrifices regarding the screen. In fact, the company managed to improve on it. The outer display is now 6.5 inches and is no longer a liability when using for typing thanks to a much wider panel. Um, and and in case anybody's wondering what's going on with the Mets game against the Cleveland Guardians at Citi Field, it's scoreless right now. They are in the fifth inning. Yes, so Gon is having to open the phone all the way to enjoy using the device. However, the screen still has some drawbacks. Unlike the Galaxy S25 Ultra, the cover screen only supports 1080p resolution and lacks an anti-reflective layer and doesn't get as bright. Let's see. Let's see. When open, the phone is not only amazing but also comfortable to use and a joy to look at, thanks to its 8-inch display that is bright and vibrant. The Fold 7 also has a noticeable wobble when placed on a flat surface. Excuse me. Thanks to the camera bump on the back. A camera system worthy of a $2,000 smartphone. What? One thing we're One thing we were always confused about regarding Samsung's Fold's flagship smartphones is the lack of a high quality camera system. Now we do understand that the draw with the Fold series is the foldable screen, but for its price, not having a camera system as good as the ones on the latest S series flagship smartphones was an excuse me, was an absolute crime, especially for a $2,000 smartphone. Whoa, wait a minute, wait just a fucking minute. $2,000 for a fucking smartphone? Wait a minute, wait a minute, man. This sounds like highway robbery right here, man. Highway robbery 101 for a smartphone that costs that much. $2,000 for that bullshit? Come on now, come on now, come on now. When was the last time you ever heard of a phone that cost $2,000? I'll fucking wait. Ridiculous, right? Ridiculous. That shit is ridiculous, man. Thankfully, that awful trend has finally come to an end with the Galaxy Z Fold 7, which now features a 200 megapixel primary lens along with a 10 megapixel telephoto sensor, a 12 megapixel ultra wide lens allowing for sharper and more vibrant shots. How about that? How about that? The two 10 megapixel front cameras on the outer and main display are okay, but you will find yourself using the primary lens a lot to take your selfies, an option that smartphones don't offer. One UI 8 provides a significant boost to the user experience. Software on the Galaxy Z Fold 7 gets a significant boost with the hold on a second, with the changes introduced with one UI 8. It also allows the phone to be a multitasking powerhouse, allowing for apps to be snapped to the side of the screen and pulled back out for more information. You can also still stack or have multiple apps on screen if that's how you prefer your foldable experience to be. Making use of the fold 7's exceptional screen. Other features such as side by side photo comparisons while editing are also key benefits of the Galaxy Fold 7 that aren't available on other Samsung devices. Hmm. Wow. Um oh my gosh. Yeah, you rarely see players get hit by a pitch on their calf, which is like on the back of the it's like on the back of the leg for those of you at home who may not know what that is. Let me see let me see where was I? Yeah. So let me see. Let me see. Where did I even? So any use of this? Yeah. Other features such as side-by-side photo comparisons while editing are also key benefits of the Galaxy Fold 7 that aren't available on other Samsung devices. Now, brief, the AI generated summaries you have received throughout the day are more valuable thanks to features like traffic updates and parking spot reminders. It's still not the win Samsung hoped it would be, but as the company continues to add improvements to it, we can see it being one of the standout features on all of the company's smartphones going forward. And of course, it's still tough to recommend spending 1,000. Oh wow, 1,000. Oh man, $1,999 on a phone, especially now. If you have the extra cash and have been on the fence about getting a Samsung phone, um, a Samsung foldable, the Fold 7 is the perfect phone to make that jump with. Nah, not me. The Galaxy Z Fold 7 is the definitive premium foldable smartphone experience that Samsung has been aiming to deliver since the first introduced the Z Fold back in 2019. It took some time, but with the Z Fold 7, Samsung finally delivers a slimmer foldable experience that features a camera system that S series users have been enjoying for years, paired with Android 16 and One UI 8 that is powered with functional AI enhancements to help deliver a productivity powerhouse that will make life a little bit easier. Sadly, the Fold 7's battery life is middle of the road. Nothing exceptional, but should last you the whole day if you are not a person who pushes their smartphone to the limit. Charging is a bit slow, and the absence of the S Pen will deter Ultra users considering the Z Fold series. Still, the Galaxy Z Fold 7 is a fantastic device despite its shortcomings, which can easily be addressed with the next iteration. The Galaxy Z Fold 7 is available now. So y'all can go check it out for yourselves and see if it's worth the price. Me personally, I wouldn't buy that typical phone that's like over $1,000. To me, that's fucking insane to me. To me, that shit is so insane to me. Worse than the time iPhones cost over $300, which is the same price as those fucking Jordans. Oh man, yeah, them Jordans is so fucking ridiculously pricey, man. Like that's crazy. That's crazy. You have to be fucking bananas to do some shit like that. Oh man. Oh shit. All right, let's wrap. We're gonna wrap up the show right now, man. We're gonna wrap up the show right now. Actually, hold on. Let me just find this last segment. Hold up. Let me do this. Let me do this real quick. All right. Okay. All right. Let's get to stream choices on the go. All right. Let's do this. All right, y'all listeners at home know the routine here. Make sure you follow Off the Meat Rat Chainz New York Avenue podcast on Bluesky Social, Facebook, alongside with Threads and Instagram. The same goes with my other podcast shows that I do, which is my sports edition show, Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast, alongside with my entertainment review show, Meticulous Vibe Juice podcast. And you can also your host with the most G Money Stacks 555 on Threads and Instagram. All right. I'm gonna break down where you could actually listen to the episodes in each podcast feed in the Linktree link. You're gonna see a whole list of links to podcast feeds of every streaming platform, which I will gladly go over with you folks at home. So y'all have to listen. All right. So when you go to the link in bio, you're gonna see a list of streaming platforms, starting with Odyssey, Audible, Audio Burst, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to leave a review. Tell me how you feel about the show. And of course, 5 stars. It'll increase my confidence in terms of trying to build the show up and building my confidence into creating more content and more topics, all that great stuff right there. So there you go, right there. Don't forget to rate 5 stars and leave a review. All right. Tell me how you feel about the topics in each episode, including this episode right here. All right. So the comedy podcast is also on Castbox FM, Deezer, Listen Notes, Moon FM podcast, Overhaul FM podcast, Pandora, Player FM, Pocket Cast, Podo Polo, Podorama, Podcast Index, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Podverse, Podcast Guru, Podcatcher, Podcast Republic, Snip, Spotify. Very important that you add the podcast to your Spotify playlist, all right? Of course, you can stream the episodes on Spotify as well. Especially spread the word to your friends about it if they have Spotify. Of course, the link for Spotify, the link to the podcast is on Spotify. You don't have to go to the search engine for that. So there you go, right there. And Spotify for creators. Of course, you can also comment on there. Tell me how you feel about the topics in this episode whatsoever. And of course, we're on TuneIn Radio, Fountain, Radio Public. Hold on, not Radio Public. I'm sorry, not Radio Public. Good Pods, iHeartRadio, the #1 app where you can listen to your favorite music artists, such as rappers, R&B singers, and other music genres. radio stations, and you can listen to the podcast episodes for free. You don't need a credit card or debit card to download iHeartRadio. All you need to do is follow the comedy Off the Meat Rat Chainz New York Avenue podcast on iHeartRadio and other streaming platforms that I just mentioned just now. And also you can also follow the podcast on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the primary page, G Money Stacks 555, for more live video episode podcast live streams. And also the episodes is also on there as well. So don't worry. Leave a like and a comment. Tell me how you feel about the topics in today's episode. And would you spend thousands of dollars on a smartphone? And also with the other topics that I discussed earlier in terms of the Clipse album, in terms of the other topics that I just talked about, you can comment below. Tell me how you feel by sharing your thoughts in the comment section on YouTube. All right. And of course, you can share the link tree with the podcast links to your husbands, your wives, your boyfriends, girlfriends, the people you're cool with from work. Anywhere else you meet people, whether you meet people at radio stations, whether it's DJs, radio personalities, and of course podcasters are included too. So spread the word. Word of mouth is important. We're already over 400 episodes already. I'm really proud of myself for pushing the envelope, making sure that I stay independent, making sure that I am unfiltered, raw, and of course uncensored. You know what I'm saying? And also you can enable alerts so you don't miss out on any episodes that's uploaded to the YouTube channel page. And of course be sure to click the notification bell so you'll be notified on when I'll be on the air via live stream, recording new episodes, and of course episodes dropping after each recording in the YouTube channel page. And also new episodes will be dropping every week, which is Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Tell your friends, tell your friends, tell your husbands, your wives, your boyfriends, girlfriends, your friends, everybody, man. And yeah, that's it. That's gonna do it for me. I'm your man, G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator. And I'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you out there for listening to each episode, including this episode, especially this episode right here, titled Wine, which is basically dedicated to National Wine Day. And remember, the grind doesn't stop. Hard work pays off. If you want something, you have to work hard and earn it. It's not going to be given to you on a fucking silver platter. You have to keep pushing yourself. And of course, for those who want to start a podcast, it's never too late to start one. And, don't overthink about a good, perfect time to start a podcast. You can start it anytime you want. You know what I mean? And some key important things that I have to tell you. The main thing is to be yourself behind the microphone as you are recording your podcast episodes, along with the topics. Any topics you want to talk about that you're passionate about, go ahead and do it. All right. And of course, be on your P's and Q's, find your niche, in whatever career field you're trying to do. Don't let anybody stop you or anything stop you, even if it's life related situations. Um, you know, just make sure you stay on track so you don't end up doing anything crazy. All right. I also want to say, be confident in what you do. Be confident in what you do. Be yourself. Be yourself, and of course, be on a consistency basis. And of course, you can ask yourself this question: are you doing this just for money in the moments and viral stuff, or are you doing this for the passion, the love, and a hobby? You know what I mean? And the reason I ask this question is because sometimes when it comes to podcasters like myself, people, somebody once asked me about whether or not I am going to be, you know, whether I'm going to be monetized. Here's the thing about monetizing videos, folks. It's not that simple. And plus, I say this all the time to every single one of you that's out there that's listening, and I appreciate every single one of you. Please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any episodes whatsoever, which is very important that I actually promote my stuff. And and of course, I do this for the love. I do this for the love. I do it because it's very therapeutic to me. So I don't end up doing anything crazy. So I don't do anything crazy whatsoever. It actually relieves me from stressful situations that I've been through, all that great stuff right there. And as far listen, and as far as like 10 years from now, listen, I can't make any predictions, man. I cannot make any fucking predictions on what happens 10 years from now. I am not trying to think ahead. All right, I am not trying to think ahead. So yeah, you shouldn't have to think ahead about what are you gonna do and where do you see yourself 10 years from now. You don't need to answer that question, okay? You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. So don't drive yourself crazy off of that shit. And also, also, also very important that you find your niche, be on your P's and Q's creatively, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, that gets you into your zone alongside with tunnel vision. All right. And and of course, man, not everybody's gonna have everything figured out. Nobody in the world has everything figured out. Nobody does. Take your time with your craft, like your podcast, whatsoever. And of course, I am also one of the individuals who likes to give tips on some podcast free game to the people who want to start a podcast and the types of equipments and stuff. I will do the podcast game. No, the podcast free game mechanisms on a frequent basis. It's probably not going to be on a frequent on an everyday basis, but it's going to be on a frequent basis depending on the episodes that I do. So there you go, right there, man. I'm gonna be signing off right here, and I'll see y'all next time with more new episodes. And of course, I will be typing in the community tab on each episode that is dropping, and I'll try to post some questions in regards to the topics in this episode. All right. or any previous episodes whatsoever. Whether it's the Samsung phone that's so expensive, the high rents that's been happening whatsoever. I know everybody's been talking about that, which is also important, and that's part of economics, aka the economy. All right. All right, man. I'm out of here. I'm about to continue watching the Mets game, see how they're doing, all that great stuff right there. You could have listened to any other podcast in the whole world, but you chose to listen to this comedy podcast right here. So you've been listening to Off the Meat Rat Chainz New York Avenue podcast, episode 410. I'll be back with more new topics, more new episodes whatsoever. And if there's any topics I didn't get a chance to talk about, I will cover that in the near future episodes upcoming. All right. And a little quick note, I had to make a little change to one of the episodes involving transit. The Brooklyn bus redesign is not going to be, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen until between November and December. I couldn't find any information in regards to that. If I see any information in between the months of November and December of the Brooklyn bus routes that's been changed whatsoever, I will gladly make sure that I actually cover it. And for you that live in Brooklyn and all that other stuff that want to know what's going on with the redesign whatsoever, I got y'all. All right, peace and one love. And of course, for all you out there, for all you people out there that are New York Mets fans, let's go Mets. And of course, I hope they win the game whatsoever. I'm out of here. Peace. Good night, everybody.